In the world of economics, there are terms that are constantly mentioned, but not always fully understood. One of these concepts is the gross domestic product (GDP), a fundamental measure that summarizes a country's total economic activity over a specific period. GDP not only reflects a national economic health, but also provides a detailed view of how income is distributed and wealth is generated within it. Through its calculation, which consider everything from private consumption to exports, GDP has become a key indicator for evaluating economic performance and making informed decisions, both nationally and internationally. In this context, it's important to understand what GDP is, who it calculates, and what its analysis implies in terms of economic growth and sustainable development.
What is GDP and why is it important in the global economy? How is it used to evaluate a country's economic performance and what limitations does it have as an indicator?
I will start with a clear explanation of the concept of GDP and its relevance in the global economy. I will discuss how GDP is used to compare economic performance between different countries and how it influences political and economic decisions. I will also address the limitations of GDP, such as not measuring wealth distribution or environmental impact. Example: the GDP of the United States is the largest in the world, reflecting its position as a global economic leader. However, it is also important to consider other indicators such as GDP per capita to get a more complete view of a nation's well-being. Additionally, GDP does not reflect quality of life, environmental sustainability, which can lead to an incomplete view of economic development.
How is GDP calculated? What are the main components and how are they integrated into the final calculation? What methods are used for its estimation and what challenges do economists face when calculating it?
Detail the component of GDP, which include private consumption, investment, government spending, and the net value of export. I will explain step by step how GDP is calculated using the Urpedurch value added and income methods. I will also discuss the challenge in measuring the informal economy and other unrecorded activities. Example: in the calculation of GDP, private consumption is obviously the largest component as it reflects the daily economic activity of consumers. However, during crisis, government spending can increase significantly to stimulate the economy. Additionally, the informal economy, such as production for personal consumption or underclerk work, can be difficult to measure and affect the accuracy of GDP calculation.
What are the differences between nominal GDP and real GDP? How does inflation affect these calculations and why is it important to consider it in economic analysis?
I will explain uh, how nominal GDP and real GDP offer different perspectives on the economy. Nominal GDP reflects the total value of production in terms of current price, while real GDP adjusts these values to account for inflation. I will discuss why real GDP is more accessible for comparison over time and how inflation can distort nominal GDP figure. Example: in a year with high inflation, nominal GDP may appear higher due to price increase, but real GDP may show more moderate growth or even economic contraction when adjusted for inflation.
How do natural resources and education influence a country's GDP? What strategies can countries implement to maximize these factors and improve their economic performance?
I will analyze how natural resources and education contribute to economic growth and sustainable development. I will discuss strategies for optimizing the use of natural resources and improving educational system to increase productivity and competitiveness. I will also address examples of countries that have achieved successful development by efficiently managing these resources. Example: countries like Norway have used their natural resources efficiently, investing in education and technology to diversify their economy and maintain a high standard of living. On the other hand, countries with strong educational systems like Singapore have achieved rapid economic growth thanks to a highly skilled workforce.
How is GDP used in making economic and political decisions? What practical examples are there of how GDP has guided fiscal and monetary policies in different countries?
I will discuss practical example of how GDP guides fiscal and monetary policies. For example, during a recession, a government might increase public spending to stimulate economic growth, which will be reflected in an increase in GDP. I will also analyze how GDP influences investment planning and the evaluation of the impact of economic policies. Example: during the 2008 financial crisis, main country implement fiscal stimulus packages to increase government spending and to boost GDP. This measure helped mitigate the effects of the crisis and recover economic activity.
What challenges do developing countries face in improving their GDP? What strategies can they implement to overcome these obstacles and achieve sustainable economic growth?
I will examine the obstacles faced by emerging economies, such as lack of infrastructure, corruption, and dependence on raw materials. I will discuss strategies to overcome these challenges, such as investing in infrastructure, promoting transparency, and diversifying the economy. I will also analyze examples of countries that have achieved successful growth through the implement of the strategies. For example, countries like China have achieved rapid economic growth through investment in infrastructure and the promotion of industrialization. However, they also face challenges such as environment pollution and economic inequality, which must be addressed to ensure sustainable development. In conclusion, GDP is a multifaceted indicator that reflects a national economic health, We hope that this conference this provides a deeper understanding of its importance and application in the current world. Thank you.